Salman, thanks for coming in. Let's talk about Pepsi. This has been quite a year of transformation, if you will, change for PepsiCo. There's been a greater investment in, or an acknowledgement of the need to greater invest in some core brands. There have been some management changes. There's been agency consolidation. Can you talk a little bit about sort of the changes that have been taking place and how they are all informing your charge overseeing the marketing for the company?
It was clear to us for some time that we needed to reinvest and re-up our investment against consumers. And as part of that, one of the things we looked at very closely was, were we spending our money the way we should? Were we spending it most efficiently? Obviously, we had to look at agencies and agency consolidation. And as part of that, we realized that there was a huge opportunity for PepsiCo to focus our efforts behind fewer relationships and to be able to both leverage our activities with the fewer partners so they understand our business more deeply, as well as, to be honest with you, drive some economies of scale with that.
Sure.
Omnicom has been our preferred partner we've had a relationship with, gosh, maybe more than 50 years now. So we've chosen to consolidate a number of our relationships within the Omnicom house over the course of this year and next year. And the goal is not to cut monies. The goal is to just refocus those monies more against consumer-facing activities.
Sure, and arguably, yeah, you're going to take the cost savings and sort of invest that in developing and promoting the brands. Is that correct?
That's exactly the plan. They'll go into paid media, they may go into owned media, they'll go into all the various things we think can help build our brands. That does not mean that we are taking the foot off the pedal where brands like Quaker and Tropicana are concerned. Those continue to be driven forward. We are building very careful plans on which businesses, which countries will we be investing in. And ultimately, the consumer is going to decide what the consumer wants to purchase from us.
New worlds to be explored, and hearts to be won.
And clearly, there is obviously this agenda, this focus to balance evolving as a company to becoming more focused on nutrition, but at the same time, obviously, being profitable and sort of meeting financial goals. That balance is a tricky one. What are you doing as far as, in overseeing marketing? How are you seeking to sort of accomplish, maintaining or achieving that balance, if you will, between those two goals?
So I think the general movement towards consumers wanting to be better informed about what they're consuming is there in virtually every market in the world. I think more countries are more sensitive about what is advertised and how it's advertised. And we made a choice a number of years ago, starting back in 2003-04, when we took trans fats out of our Frito lineup in the US, to make sure we were at the forefront of it. We've said publicly and we've committed it. We've talked about our commitment not to advertise to children under 12. We've talked about our commitment to label our bags the right way with nutrition information, not just on the back label, but on the front of the packs. So all of these things, along with our efforts to reformulation, I think, start to create an emphasis that says, we will continue to put the right choices in front of consumers, and we'll do that with good information. We've even invested in some campaigns in different countries in the world where we are teaching consumers how best to read the labels so they can just continue to make very informed decisions.
Globally, what other differences and challenges are you facing? How are you sort of striking the balance between being locally relevant but also being globally consistent?
Right. So we sell food and beverages, and food and beverage is amongst the most local of all the things that people consume because tastes are so different. So our work actually has always been very focused on making sure we understand what the local tastes are all about. So to give you an example, a number of years ago, as we started expanding our snacks franchise globally, in most markets that we would enter, we would bring a panel of chefs together. And we would sit down with them and we would ask them, help us understand what are the most popular foods in this market, whether you're in India or a China or a Spain and so on. And with their help, we started to go deeper and deeper into local culinary habits and local seasonings and what the taste buds were preferring versus anywhere else. And we use that then to sit with our seasoning houses and say, can you help us match these tastes? What would it take to do that? And we put the chefs and the seasoning houses together to really get a deep understanding of what is it that people preferred in terms of tastes. There are parts of the world where iced tea has exploded over the last many years. So we've focused a lot on iced tea in many parts of the world, right? China, for example, is one of those places where tea is very, very popular. Actually, it's becoming far more popular in the West as well. So we've just stayed very close to those tastes to make sure that we stay at the forefront of that.
And as far as consumer engagement moving forward, obviously Pepsi Refresh was a project that you all famously worked on. You've had Democracy, you have the Crash the Super Bowl. You've really done a lot of activities, obviously, to spur consumer engagement with brands. What can we expect to see from you moving forward along those lines, both domestically and globally?
Yeah. So you've mentioned a couple of those. I think this whole idea of bringing consumers in and democratizing choice and asking consumers to create a dialogue with us where we are not just speaking to them, but they're coming back and telling us what they think is a trend that will stay with us for quite some time. Another example that we've in the process of expanding around the world is a program we created out of the UK called Do Us a Flavor, where we went and we asked people to create the next set of flavors for our potato chip business there, the Walker's brand.
Cheese and onion.
And in a population of 60 million, we got more than 1 million ideas coming in. People were spending more time on our website than they were on the BBC website for a period of time. And that speaks to the kind of engagement you can create. And that says, you know what? These consumers have truly invited your brand into their lives. They enjoy your brand. They're not just a brand user, they're frankly a brand lover. And that's what our goal is. How do we get more people around the world to love our brand, not just consume our brand?